Do flight crew, FTC, flight team stand up. Why you lie? It's July, 'cause it ain't June. Hey man, now you guys know I love my football just as much as the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So, hey bro, we got the biggest tragedy in NFL history. Found a couple of good channels where they got nice NFL documentaries, football type documentaries. This one from the microphone right here. Let's check it out.
Tiger Stadium, Detroit, Michigan, the Lions coming out.
Okay, Chicago and Detroit Lions. Bears versus Detroit.
That was ultimately to produce the terrible tragedy of Chuck Hughes.
Meet Chuck Hughes, the player that literally died in the middle of a NFL game.
What?
Today we're going to be covering 5 tragedies that have occurred throughout the span.
First, before this even continues, I want to say RIP to his name was Chuck, and definitely prayers to his family.
Of a NFL
first
game.
I'm hearing about something
now,
like this.
Look, typically football goes as it's supposed to go.
Football's
yes, there
a dangerous
are injuries
sport
every week, but for the most part, these injuries aren't as life-altering as some of these tragedies as we are going to cover today.
I remember that dude from the Vikings. That was Randy Moss's his rookie year in '98. Forgive me, I forgot his name, but I do remember that player. He was actually in practice in the Minnesota Vikings during the summer. I believe he had like a heart attack or something like that on the field. That was very sad.
So what's going on, guys? Your boy Mike here, and before we get to the content,
but this is a whole different topic, though.
Leave a like, subscribe, and turn on my notifications because we are very close to getting to 100,000 subscribers. If you want, let me know in the comment section what we should give away to celebrate 100,000 subscribers. I was either thinking multiple copies of Madden or even a PS5. So let me know in the comment section down below. But on top of that, guys, originally we were going to release the Ray Lewis documentary this weekend, but after doing some research, we realized that this is also the anniversary of Steve McNair's death. So I'm going to leave a link to the premiere of our huge, incredible Steve McNair documentary in a video that documents his murder at the hands of his mistress. If that's something you'd be interested in, please go to the description down below. Click that link.
That was sad.
Make sure you have notifications on. Make sure you like that video because if that video hits 3,000 likes, I will drop it prematurely.
Boy and girl, man and woman.
Now that we got all that out of the way, break!
Oh shit, this is the Flight Mic. Yo, I didn't know this was his channel. What the hell? Yo, we played the Flight Mic. You guys remember in June. But yeah, let's get serious though. This is a serious video. Shout out to Flight Mic.
Mic check 1 2 1 2, guys. Meet Corey Stringer. Corey Stringer was an All-American at Ohio State University. He went on to become a first-round draft pick and play offensive tackle in the NFL for the Minnesota Vikings for 6 seasons. Unfortunately, his life was cut short in the summer of 2001 because he succumbed to a heat stroke brought on by 2-a-day practices.
Oh, he had a heat stroke.
During the first practice of the year, on July 31st, Stringer had participated in the morning session but felt fatigued and sat out for the afternoon session. The next day, Stringer vowed to himself to complete the entire day's practice schedule, and he did. Despite vomiting 3 times after completing the last practice session in 90 degrees and 110 heat index weather, Stringer walked into the air-conditioned training complex and collapsed. He was rushed to the hospital unconscious with a core body temperature of 108 degrees.
Damn.
He never regained consciousness and died of organ failure brought on by heat stroke.
R.I.P.
If you think that's crazy, meet Mike Utley, who is a Detroit Lions offensive lineman whose life changed forever on November 17th, 1991. He was in just his 3rd NFL season after being an All-American at Washington State University, and after injuries derailed his 1st and 2nd seasons in the NFL, Utley managed to remain healthy for the 1991 season. He started all 11 games at right guard up until the November 17th game against the Los Angeles Rams. It was early in the 4th quarter that Utley made a block against a defender and ended up with a broken vertebrae in his neck.
Oh my gosh! No.
He was strapped tightly to the gurney, but managed to give a thumbs-up signal to the fans.
Oh my bro, a vertebrae is a serious bone, bro.
For, hey, I'll be okay. Utley would find out from doctors that because of the location of the spinal injury, he would be paralyzed for life from the chest down. Through intense rehabilitation, he regained full use of his arms and continues to be active, not letting his disability slow him down. He has started the Mike Utley Foundation for research into a cure for paralysis, and the logo of the foundation is Mike's iconic thumbs up. Now, if you think Mike's situation was tragic, listen to Byrd. Because Dennis Byrd was a defensive lineman for the New York Jets in the early 1990s and had a very promising start to his career. He accumulated 28 sacks over his first 4 seasons in the NFL.
Wow.
But tragedy struck on November 29, 1992, during a game between the New York Jets and the Kansas City Chiefs. During the game, Byrd was in position to sack Chiefs quarterback Dave Krieg, but at the last moment, Krieg dodged the tackle and Byrd ran helmet first into the torso of his teammate Scott Merceau.
No!
Byrd broke his 5th cervical vertebrae, and injury left him unable to walk, ending his short career.
No!
Byrd was relatively lucky though,
Damn!
because with an intense rehabilitation, he was able to regain use of his legs again. Tragically, in 2016, Dennis Byrd was killed in a motorcycle accident in his home state of Oklahoma. More recently, we know the story of Ryan Chazier, an Ohio State All-American who was drafted in the first round of the 2014 NFL Draft by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ryan Chazier was clearly destined for greatness, as he was named to the Pro Bowl for 2 of his first 4 years in the league. But that career was cut short during a Monday night game in 2017 against the Cincinnati Bengals. During that game, Chazier was involved in a head-on tackle and left laying on the ground following the play, unable to move.
Oh no.
He was carted off the field and examined by doctors. They revealed to him that he suffered a spinal contusion.
Damn,
he underwent
man.
spinal surgery and slowly began to regain the use of his legs.
Nice.
Through hard work and dedication, he has regained nearly full use of his legs.
Nice.
Although he will never play football again.
Damn, it's so
On
sad,
April
bro.
26, 2018,
One play just decides.
Chazier and his fiance walked on the stage to deliver the draft announcement of
This is just like, videos example also, you guys. Just never take things for granted. You know what I'm saying? Always live every second moment of your life or moment in sports like it's your last, and just make sure you be careful. This is just
Steelers' first round pick in the 2018 NFL Draft. So we mentioned a couple of tragedies that involved several players injured that were completely life-altering.
Yeah.
But none of these are as gut-wrenching as an actual NFL player dying on the football field. Now, the name Chuck Hughes might not conjure up any emotions in today's football fan, and most fans today probably don't even know who Chuck Hughes was.
Yeah, honestly,
It's been almost 40 years since Chuck Hughes died, and to date, he is the only player to die on the field of play. Charles Frederick Hughes was born on May 2nd, 1943, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His family moved him and his 12 siblings to Abilene, Texas when he was still relatively young. He played football at Abilene High School and then at Texas Western University, later the University of Texas El Paso, where he was a star wide receiver and still holds many school records.
nice.
After a stellar college career, Hughes was drafted in the 4th round of the 1967 NFL-AFL draft by the Philadelphia Eagles. Throughout his first 3 seasons with the Eagles, he was mainly a backup wide receiver as well as a special teams player. Before the 1970 season, Hughes was traded to the Detroit Lions. Fast forward to the 1971 season, and Chuck Hughes was still a backup receiver. Now in his 2nd season with Detroit and his 5th season in the NFL, he was just 28 years old. In the final preseason game against the Buffalo Bills, Hughes took a nasty shot to his ribs from a defender. He was able to walk off the field under his own power, but later collapsed in the locker room and was rushed to Henry Ford Hospital. Doctors suspected an injury to his spleen, kidney, or lungs based on the description of the hit he'd taken. He was checked out and everything was normal.
You gotta remember too, back then the NFL didn't have the equipment, like even their helmets. You can literally like just, you know what I'm saying, it's like smack somebody in their face because it didn't even have the fucking the face mask gear as it has on today. It was very dangerous back then.
Part of a healthy, active 28-year-old
It pretty much was just playing
athlete.
like.
But that day, Chuck Hughes had his first of 2 heart attacks that season. The second one would be fatal. During an interview several weeks later, Hughes told the Detroit News that he had felt sharp pains in his stomach and chest, but nobody could figure out why. He decided to tough it out and return to the team.
Wow.
Then on October 25th, 1971, during a game against the Chicago Bears, tragedy struck. The location was the historic Detroit Tiger Stadium. The game was a close one going into the fourth quarter. The Bears were leading 28-23 with less than 2 minutes to go in the game, but the Lions were driving. Hughes, who was in the game because of an injury to starting wide receiver Larry Watson, made a spectacular diving catch for a gain of 32 yards. His catch took the Lions down to the Bears' 37-yard line, and the clutch grab was Hughes' first of the season and only his 15th and final reception of his short career. After the clutch first down, Lions quarterback Greg Landry threw 2 incomplete passes, and the Lions faced a critical 3rd down and 10 yards to go with just over 1 minute left in the game. The next play would be Hughes' last play on earth. On the next play, Hughes would line up on the right side of the formation and ran a down and in pattern. He was a decoy on this play. However, as the pass went to Lions tight end Charlie Sanders, who dropped the pass near the Chicago goal line to a chorus of groans from the crowd, as Hughes was heading back to the huddle, he suddenly collapsed in the middle of the field. The Bears cornerback, who lined up across from Hughes on the last play, later said that Hughes' eyes looked kind of strange before the ball was snapped. When Hughes collapsed, he was at the feet of future Hall of Famer Dick Butkus, who was known for his brutal hits on the field. And as the fans' attention moved from Sanders' dropped touchdown to the player lying on the field, many assumed that Butkus had leveled him on one of his famously hard hits. Butkus, however, knew immediately that something was wrong and signaled frantically for the training staff to come and attend to Hughes.
Oh my gosh.
As he was laying on the field, Hughes began to spasm and convulse violently. Trainers from both sides ran to Hughes, as well as a physician who was watching the game from the stands. 54,000 fans were watching in horror as doctors pounded their fist on Hughes' chest. After what seemed like an eternity, Hughes was loaded onto a stretcher and rushed to a waiting ambulance.
Wow.
As the stretcher was hurriedly carried across the field, Hughes' arm fell limply over the side and bounced lifelessly back and forth. As the ambulance sped out of the stadium and towards Henry Ford Hospital, the remaining 62 seconds of the game were played without event, and the Bears held on to victory. Nobody was celebrating on the field after the game, however, as fans exited the stands and moved towards the exits, talking quietly about what they had just witnessed. They could still hear the ambulance siren in the distance. Charles Hughes was pronounced dead at a Henry Ford Hospital at 5:34 p.m. His official cause of death was acute coronary thrombosis brought on by premature hardening of the arteries. His funeral was held a week later in San Antonio, Texas,
man.
and the entire Lions team, including head coach Joe Schmidt, was in attendance. The Lions' next game was a Monday night against the Green Bay Packers, and a moment of silence was held for Chuck Hughes. His wife filed a $21.5 million malpractice lawsuit against Henry Ford Hospital, as well as several physicians for not correctly diagnosing his condition during his visit to the hospital just 6 weeks earlier. The suit was eventually settled out of court for an undisclosed amount. The Detroit Lions retired Hughes' number 85 and named a team award.
Oh, that's why it was. Yeah, because I was always
It's
wondering
surprised
that.
there
I never
haven't
seen a
been
Lions
more
player wear
serious
85.
injuries on the gridiron. Players have gotten bigger, faster, and stronger, and they hit harder than ever
that was a
before.
Reggie Bush
The
shit.
technology and equipment have also gotten better, not to mention medical care. Hopefully we will never see another player die on the field in the manner that Chuck Hughes did.
That is very sad, man. Hey, man, this is a very interesting, man. Make sure y'all, you know what I'm saying, y'all check this channel out. What are y'all thoughts about this and everything? Did you know about the story previously? Anybody had known him or known his family personally or anything? Let me know. As usual, everybody, let me know what I should react to next, man, on the road to 3 milli.